Hey everybody, it's Nikki here with Delicate Tension Tarot, and today is going to be a reading for the sign of Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, or if you just have a lot of Taurus placements in your chart. This will be for the time period of April 15th through the 30th. As always, this is a general reading. If you would like a reading that's very tailored and specific to your experience and what you're dealing with, you can book with me down below at my website link, which is listed in the description box. On my website, you'll find reviews. You'll find 3 different choice options, or choice options. 3 different reading styles you can choose from. I have a very simple $15 reading. That's one question only. That's for people who just need a very direct answer. It is a video recorded reading. And then I have a in-depth reading, which is a 30-minute video recorded reading. And then I have an option for phone call or Zoom, and that is going to be a little more because typically it is kind of saved for people who want to do 30 minutes to an hour or more, depending on what you're going through, how many questions you have, and what we're really diving into, especially if it's something that involves, you know, bringing up things that either need to be healed or things that need to be discussed or talked about to help you move forward in the best way possible. Keep in mind, we do have a new moon in your sign happening on the 23rd of this month. I think it's going to be a really, really nice, loving, nurturing new moon. I think that there's going to be moments to really expand beauty within your environment, within your connections. It's a very Venusian energy, so it's going to be, in my opinion, right at home in the moon. It's just going to be very, very lovey, very loving, very, very motherly. It's going to be nice. Use that time to, you know, maybe do things around the home, maybe purchase something new for the home, maybe repaint, maybe make some updates, or, you know, just change things around. I think it's a really nice energy to kind of nest. So take that for what it's worth. With that being said, I'll get started with your reading. Let's see what's happening here for Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus for April 15th to the 30th. What is happening for Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus for April 15th to the 30th? It's the first card that wanted to come out in the first place, and then it ended up coming out again. 9 of Wands. So there could be an energy of feeling protective of yourself, feeling protective of your environment, possibly feeling protective of the people that are around you. There's something here that you possibly could have been working on for a really long time. I want to get a better image of what's in the card. I need to get a new camera, to be honest, because I need something with autofocus. But, you know, in this image, the person's just sitting there and they're holding their staff or their Ace of Wands, which is the initial energy that kicked everything off in the first place. But they're using it to kind of block themselves, and it's more of a protective or defensive stance. Not as defensive as like 7 of Wands per se, but he has a bandage on his head, and, you know, maybe he's really been put through the ringer, or maybe what he's dealing with is turning into a headache. It can symbolize also possible head injury, depending on what you've been dealing with, especially if it comes to battling with something. But really for me in this card, I feel like you're just being protective of yourself, what you've created, because what you've been through has been a lot for you. You're also really trying to muster up any energy you have left to complete whatever this cycle is. Maybe the past 9 days have been particularly rough for you. It could be 9 weeks, but you know, 9 weeks is a really far stretch for me. So for me personally, it's probably 9 days. But if we're going like super long term, you know, the past 9 months for you could have been really intense in particular. I just feel like you've been through a lot, and now you're just in an energy of wanting to protect yourself, especially if you feel like there's another blow coming. Which I don't think there is, but let's see. Let's see what's blocking you here, Taurus. What's blocking Taurus for April 15th through the 30th? We have the Ace of Pentacles. So there could be something that's trying to make its way to you, or something that's trying to come in. It has a lot to do with solid foundations, fresh starts, really planting the seeds of manifestation. Maybe this is, you know, if this is blocked from you at this time, or if you feel like it's blocked from you, I really would focus on that new moon in Taurus energy, because it's such strong earth energy. I would think about what it is that you're wanting to do on that new moon, whatever intention you're wanting to set, whatever you're really wanting to bring forth into your life. I think that it's time, but it may require you to release something in return. So I want you to think about that. I feel like we're going to get the Four of Pentacles somewhere in here, or another card that represents holding on to something that you need to let go of. So let's see what's going on. I feel like there's new stuff coming in for sure. For some of you, this could still be you guys waiting on whether it's like the stimulus check or something coming your way financially. And you may feel like it's taking longer than anticipated. What's happening in Taurus's subconscious? Yeah. So we have Judgment. You might be feeling really deep at this time. Yeah, Hermit on the bottom of the deck. You might be having really deep feelings at this time. Maybe it's because typically Taurian signs are very fixed. They don't like change at all. Some of them, you know, I feel like depending on what you have in your chart, it may be a little easier for you to deal with change. But for the most part, I feel like you can have a hard time. For example, I have a Leo sun and an Aquarius rising. So those are two very fixed signs, but change for me is really easy to go through. And it's probably because I have about 4 placements in Sagittarius. So I feel like, you know, like I said, it's all based on what's in your chart. But for the specific group out there where change is very difficult, I feel like whatever's happening around you right now, it's difficult. Because I do feel like it has a lot to do with reconciling with stuff from the past. It may also it may be you feeling like something big is coming. Maybe you're feeling as if, you know, that pressure is building up, and that may be referring to me talking about whatever it is that you're holding on to that you need to release. Maybe you should go ahead and do the work around releasing it. That can be anything. It doesn't have to be physical. It can be emotions. It can be expectations. It can be, maybe a certain mindset that you had about how you wanted something to go. There's just something here about needing to surrender to what is and what will be, because I feel like once you do that, you're gonna find the wisdom in why you went through the experience in the first place, and you're gonna see the wisdom in how sometimes letting go really does bring what it is that we want most to us. We just don't see it until after the fact. So let's see what's happening in your recent past. So we have the moon. Maybe you had something big happen around this last moon cycle. Maybe there were a lot of changes that took place for you. I also think in the past you weren't very clear on what was happening around you, or it could have been people's intentions or motives. Maybe also it could be that you might have done a lot of manifestation work or intention setting around the last moon cycle, and you haven't seen the fruits of your intention or seeds that you had planted come to fruition yet. So maybe that's also why you're in that Nine of Wands energy, because you're just kind of like, all right, man, like I think I've put in enough intention and enough work and I'm not seeing anything happen. Just like hold your horses, you know, I think it's coming. But always remember that when we set intentions and when we're trying to bring new stuff into our life, we have to make room for it. So that could be physical, you know, physical clearing out, emotional, mental, spiritual. Let's see what's happening in your higher self. We have the Queen of Swords in reverse. You know, that's really odd to me that that's showing up in your higher self or perspective, because usually the Queen of Swords in reverse is quite critical. She speaks and reacts from prior experiences a little too harshly. And, you know, usually for lack of a better phrasing, she's always ready to cut a bitch over something. So I would just be careful. I mean, it could be somebody that you're dealing with in your environment that may be acting this way, but I really feel like as your higher self, it's almost like maybe you need to drop the critical thinking, or maybe you need to drop the guard. Maybe you need to drop the way in which you approach or possibly attack people when you feel like people are coming at you. Because there's something here that you need to change within yourself. I see that super strongly with judgment in your subconscious. Maybe you're reviewing ways in which you were like this and how it might have prevented you from getting what it is that you really wanted. And maybe that's why there's really heavy feelings there. Because you might be reconciling with yourself. But I also really think this is in the overall process of getting what you want. Let's see what's happening in the near future here for Taurus, April 15th through 30th. We have Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Let's pull one. Okay. And we have the Ten of Pentacles. Not bad. Not bad at all. You know, maybe you'll find in the near future that whatever that manifestation was, whatever that seed it was that you planted, may have taken a while to show up, but it's about to show up big time. I think that there is going to be ways in which you were working together, either with a family or family unit. You actually might have recommendations from a very strong female figure. Maybe she's been going through some things recently, because Queen of Pentacles in reverse for me is somebody who can be a little depressed. You know, maybe shut away a little too much, maybe focusing a little too much on what's going on around her, you know, especially with everybody being housebound. It literally could be somebody just sinking into anxiety and depression due to what they're experiencing. And maybe it has a lot to do with family responsibilities. But I do feel like it's really interesting. It's like whatever seed you planted shows up tenfold. So I think you're going to be pretty happy with that. Let's see what's happening emotionally for you right now. What are you emotionally dealing with? All right. We have the Ace of Cups in the upright. So your heart definitely is opening right now. And then we have the Nine of Cups. Should make the Ten of Cups. And then we have the Magician. I think you're manifesting happiness into your life. And I think you're manifesting happiness in a way that maybe through this work that you're doing through judgment, if you are releasing things and if you are really reconciling with things that have happened, maybe it's something where your heart is finally opening, where you are becoming more vulnerable. I think too, there is a small part of you that emotionally has been manifesting something here. Like there's something you really, really, really want. And I think that you're doing everything that you can to get it. But with the Nine of Cups too, I have to kind of put the warning out there, where when it comes to the Nine of Cups, you need to be careful with self-satisfaction, because sometimes it can border on ego, gluttony, overconsumption, maybe having a little too much fun. So just be aware of that. Like make sure that you're checking yourself, you know, emotionally. Because I think whatever it is that you're trying to manifest, you need to make sure that your intentions are in the right place. Don't just try to manifest something for the sake of having it. Let's see what's happening around you, Taurus. We have the Five of Swords. Five of Swords. I don't know why I just said that. And then we have the Seven of Swords. Damn. And then we have the King of Pentacles. There could be issues with a strong male figure around you. I mean, this can also be somebody who just emits a lot of masculine energy, so a lot of very active, controlling energy. But this is really intense. Like, whatever's going on around you, there could be a lot of fighting, there could be a lot of disagreements, there could be petty shit being said. It may have been someone who is withholding information, or maybe taking more than giving under this strange guise. This also could be arguments over money. Maybe somebody feels like something that someone got is theirs somehow, or a part of it should be given to them. So there could be strong arguments highlighted there as well. Either way, there's some form of like arguments around deception or around lack of communication that is truthful. Somebody may have not been telling everything that they needed to tell or saying everything that they needed to say, and then something came to light and it caused a huge argument. So there just may be some disagreements happening around you. So let's see what's in your hopes and fears. We have the Three of Wands. So I feel like you're very hopeful that there's something more out there that's coming your way. I feel like you do have very, very far vision too. So I feel like it's almost like you can see the finish line. You can see what's coming sometimes. So some of you may actually be clairvoyant to a certain extent, or maybe have very intense, I'll call them prophetic dreams, right? Because that's really what they are when you foresee an event happening. I just feel like for some of you, you may have already seen the finish line, but with where you're at right now, you're like, how the fuck is that my finish line if I'm right here? Like, how am I ever going to get there? Why would I see that if it's not true? Like, I feel like there's a lot of arguments with yourself around that. But just, you can still see, and I think you can see, it's almost like you have to look more intently to the next mile marker. Like, I feel like you need to be looking at the next mile marker. You need to be looking at imagery of that, or how you can get there versus how you can get to the finish line. Because I feel like you can see everything for what it is. I think you're just so focused on where you need to be or where you want to be that you're not wanting to look at how to get there. Let's see what's happening in your far-reaching outcome. Okay. We have the Two of Pentacles. We have the Page of Cups. We have the Ten of Wands, which is a nice ending to where we began. We have the Emperor. And then we have the Knight of Cups. So this is going to be really funny to me when I express this, because I think it's kind of hilarious. So, in terms of like what you've been manifesting, I feel like you've been layering your manifesting. Like, I feel like when the one thing didn't show up, you changed what you wanted to manifest, but you didn't like clear out the energy of the other thing because the intention is still out there. So I feel like you're going to be manifesting two things at once. And then you're going to have a decision that you need to make. And part of me is wondering if it has a lot to do with manifesting security or manifesting love. I think some of you are going to have to make a choice here, because I do see, it could even be just manifesting an apology. But there's something here where it's like an opportunity comes to you or an apology comes to you. There's some sort of heartfelt communication that happens here within the outcome. And I do think it helps you level out a bit emotionally, because it finally puts you in a place where you can put certain burdens to rest, or you can lay things down and you don't have to carry them anymore. So I do think it makes you lighter. And maybe this is the thing that you really need to see. Like, maybe it's maybe it's the next mile marker. It's not the finish line, but it's the mile marker. And I think you need to start paying attention to mile markers. Not the finish line. Not the destination. Because the mile markers do matter. But in this outcome, I feel like this is the beginning of something of responsibility, accountability, really tapping into the power of who you are. And I feel like there's going to be more heartfelt communication coming your way. Maybe it's you sending it out there as well, but I feel like this is about stepping up and stepping into who you really are. Maybe you discovered a lot of that in Aries season, which we're still in. But I feel like it's an energy you need to step into. So maybe you could possibly be a North Node Aries. Look at your nodal chart if you want to do that, or you could have a strong Aries placement somewhere in there. But I feel like it's just you stepping up to the plate to be who you need to be. And maybe that's all that ever mattered. Maybe that's the point that was being missed in all of this, is that, you know, you can crank shit out all day. You can manifest like a motherfucker. But it is that fucking quote. I mean, even though it comes from Spider-Man, whatever, it really is true. With great power comes great responsibility. So be responsible for how you wield and use your power, because it does cause ripple effects. It does cause karma. It can also set you up with good dharma. But I feel like it's just so important and so impactful to understand what it is that you're doing, why you're doing it. And I think that the more you come into contact with that, and the more you connect more deeply with that, I think there's going to be something new that you're going to access within yourself in order to really achieve something for yourself that is definitely way more than what you've experienced in the past. So yeah. Normally I would do clarifiers for this, but I already feel like I've been talking for way too long. Like, I feel like I went through this process really slow for some reason, and maybe that's how you felt as well. There was somebody else I did a reading for like that recently. I can't remember what sign it was, but you know what? Let's at least pull a clarifier for one thing out here. Let's clarify the Emperor and the outcome. So we've got the Four of Swords. And then we've got the Two of Swords and the Hermit. So yeah, I definitely feel like the Emperor has a lot to do with tapping in and utilizing that wisdom to discover how you use your power. And how you've used your power in the past and what the outcomes were. Because I do feel like when you're in that space of being broken, sometimes the energy that may infuse itself into what it is that you're like calling in, or when you're doing intention setting, whatever it may be, wishing, it could literally be thoughts. When you do it from that space, I feel like things get a little more difficult. And I feel like then you get impacted in other ways that are not very positive. So just double check with yourself, right? Make sure that your intentions are always in the right place. But I see a really fruitful outcome for you. I feel like you're going to be feeling very financially stable. I think you're going to feel held. I think you're going to feel supported. I think that you're just coming into a new awareness of yourself and what you can do when your intentions are in the right place. And really, that will help you understand your power on a deeper level. We have service, so this may actually be about being of service to others. Maybe it's about using your power in that way instead of being in service to yourself. Which I'm not saying that's wrong, right? I think that we all should be of service to ourselves. And then we have progress, so there's that progress I'm seeing. How that manifestation kind of goes from 1 to 10 is pretty amazing. Okay. Energy. Challenge, and surrender. So there's that surrendering energy that I was talking about. You need to release something. And maybe that's the challenging part, right? Maybe it's releasing the outcome and just seeing it step by step. We've got the World, so I do think you're coming into a completion of a really big cycle for yourself. Then we have War. And we have Tears. It's also quite possible whatever's going on in the world right now has really made you get in touch with these really deep feelings that you're reconciling with inside of yourself. Maybe some of you work really closely with earth energy or nature, and you're probably actually feeling a lot of what is happening in the world right now, and it could be affecting you on a very strong level. But overall, I feel like these cards speak to that acceptance piece. You're reconciling a lot inside of yourself right now, and I think it's really uncomfortable. These are deep, long-held beliefs and feelings that possibly need to be cleared out. And I think it's going to be cleared out. I definitely think you're in a process of releasing this. We have climb over the mountain. So that might be that other challenge, right? But it's also progress. I think you're getting there. And then we have the pen is mightier than the sword. So always make sure that you're checking yourself, right? Don't just say something to say something, understand why you're wanting to say it. And then we have spill the tea. So once again, be very mindful what you speak into existence. I think that's very important for you. Be very, very mindful. Understand what you're doing, what you're saying, what actions you're taking, and why. And I think that that really is the key for you right now. Okay, Taurus, this has actually been a really great reading. This has been different. I really like, I'm not saying I don't like doing readings about love, but I like doing readings about healing. I like doing readings about dealing with the deeper aspect of what's going on, because I feel like we have to change those things if we really want to affect our external reality, our world. You have to change the inside first, right? So thank you for letting me do this reading for you today, and I hope it resonated. If it did, please make sure to like, share, subscribe, or drop a comment down below sharing your personal experience or how you felt about the reading in general. And check out the description box below if you would like to see any of the decks that I used. Most, if not all of them, except I think for one deck, is Independent Artist. Actually, I think the After Tarot is too. I just can never find the one person who did it, or maybe it's multiple people. But there's links to each of their individual websites if you want to check their stuff out and support them through this time. I also hope that all of you are doing well and staying safe as you can, and really being supportive of yourself and other people in your environment as best as you can. I think really that's all I've got to say. Oh, if you want to follow my Instagram for daily collective readings and other things throughout the week, I'm going to start doing tarot tips on how to read. And I may also be infusing a teaching channel on here. I don't know if I want to do it as a Patreon first, or something where you're going to have to make a small payment. You know, it'll probably be like $2 or $3 per lesson. Yeah, so stay tuned for that. I'm really excited for that development. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.